right, I am DJ Cooper. You just heard a live set from Austin, Texas's own Destroyer of Light. They're going to be in the studio here. We're going to talk a little bit about their tour, about their history in Kalamazoo and at WIDR, and other, I don't know what we'll talk about, but it'll probably be interesting. No, it won't probably be interesting. It will be interesting. So keep it tuned to 89.1 WIDR Kalamazoo, your only source for Radio Evolution. And we're going to have that podcast up on our website shortly, so get ready for that. Interview in 2 minutes. All right, I am DJ Cooper. I'm the host of Forte. Forte airs 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. on Friday nights, and Forte is the metal show. Bit of a Forte takeover here this Saturday evening. We took over the Tree Fort. We kicked them out. We brought in Destroyer of Light. We just played live for you in the studio. I have Steve and Keegan here in the band, from the band here in the studio. Going to ask them some questions. Going to figure out what the Kalamazoo connection is, and that's it. You have any questions? You can give me a call, 269-387-6303, and I'll ask them. We'll try to get some answers. And if you didn't know, you're listening to 89.1 WIDR Kalamazoo. All right, you guys want to go ahead and say hi?
What's going on? This is Steve right here. Hi. Yeah?
Yeah, sounds better now.
Okay.
All right. So, Kalamazoo, what brought you to our fair city?
Well, I am originally a Kalamazoo native. I went to high school at Mattawan High School and went to Western Michigan University for a few years. And, I just had a lot of friends and everything. And I've been in 2 bands since being in Kalamazoo, or 3 actually. No, 4. See? No, time flies. I was in Brood in high school, and then I was in Immigrant Blue for a while, and then I was in Poor Bastards Revolt with some of my friends, and then I was in a death metal band called Fable Deceit, and we actually did something on here. And all my connections I'm still good friends with, so I like to come back and play for people that I know.
All right, we'll have to look for those recordings. I'm sure the doctor has them around here somewhere. This is a big tour for you guys, right? So where have you been? Where are you going?
Keegan, you want to take this one?
Yeah, we went through Denton, Texas, Little Rock, Chicago, played here last night, and we're moving on to the East Coast after this. Gonna hit up Indianapolis, Columbus, Pittsburgh, New York, no particular order there. I'm trying to remember. But, we're hitting, going all the way down the East Coast to Atlanta, Georgia, then going back through New Orleans and back home after playing in Houston. So it's going to be about 3 weeks total. It's the biggest one yet that we've done.
Yeah. Good start, huh?
It is a good start. We did 2 5-day runs. The first one we did, we came all the way up to Kalamazoo, and then the second one, we did more of the southern states like New Orleans and Mississippi and stuff like that. So we wanted to do a couple small runs to see how it worked out, and now we're ready to take it on full force.
When you get done touring, are you going to record anymore?
Well, we actually already recorded our second EP. We recorded with the same guy that did our first one. However, with this one, we had more time to, let it digest. So we're in the mixing process right now. There's going to be 5 songs on the EP. We played 2 of them live tonight for you. And we're shooting for it to be released this year. And hopefully we'll get vinyl on that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, we want to do a vinyl release with the first EP as soon as we can get the capital together for that, basically.
Thus the tour, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hope you did all right last night.
No, yeah, last night was great. Chicago and last night were definitely great. And Denton's a great town. Little Rock is a great town too. I mean, we went back to Little Rock again because the people are so friendly and nice. And of course, Paul Bearer and Wake are from there too. So, they have a good slew of bands.
Yeah, well, it seems, I don't know, with, well, I guess the big one would be like Ghost, but it seems like metal's kind of making a comeback. They're kind of dying for a while. Nah, the metal never dies, but sometimes it's not as popular.
It's kind of like a wave. It goes in a wave, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like especially the retro metal sound, doom metal, stoner metal, sludge. I feel like that is coming up a lot more. Even a couple years ago in our hometown in Austin, Texas, trying to find a metal band to play with that didn't just sound exactly like Pantera was really, really difficult. And so now I think people's horizons are being broadened a little bit when it comes to metal.
You know what's funny about doom metal getting popular is a lot of kids that are just starting to learn about it think it's just this new trend, and I have to remind them that doom metal's been around since 1970 when Black Sabbath released their first album, and then in the 80s you had St. Vitus and Candlemass, and it's always been there. It's just finally getting more of a recognition that it has deserved, I think.
Yeah, so, I mean, did you grow up listening to Doom? What drew you to Doom?
Well, I started getting into Doom probably, I'm 30 now, so I started getting into Doom at 20. I mean, I'd always been a fan of Black Sabbath since I was a teenager, but I didn't know there was a Doom scene until I was about 19, 20 years old. And that's when I found like St. Vitus, Candlemass, The Obsessed, and all that stuff, and then Stoner Rock, of course, too, and learned how much a slow riff is just as heavy as playing as fast as you can, you know? And being the age I am, I like slow, heavy riffs.
Yeah, and I actually, the last thing I was in was kind of a old school thrash / old school heavy metal band. All the metal I've played has been generally of the fast variety before this, so it was a change of pace, but I love Doom, so that's cool. We bring a little bit of we change it up a little bit and bring some of the speed into there, like you heard at the end of our set we did. You know, we like to throw it in there and change up people's expectations.
Yeah, I mean, we don't...
Yeah, Mark, our bass player, he is here now. He was me and him were both in a metal band before this that was kind of thrashing, and when me, him, and the drummer Penny all knew each other. Steve moved down from Kalamazoo, found us actually through Craigslist. Craigslist does work out sometimes, yeah, it actually turned out pretty well.
It's kind of funny because you move to a town like Austin where when you're not from there, you're like, oh, it's tons of musicians, tons of bands. I'm probably going to have to go through 30 or 40 flakes before I get to people that are actually on point. But actually, they were the first people I contacted. So it was cool. Hey, Mark, you want to say hi?
Howdy, Michigan. It's good to be back.
Whoa, bass player showed up and the phone's lighting up. They got a lot of questions for the bassist.
Oh, man, bass player, you're hot.
Yeah.
All right, I'll get to those calls in a minute, but yeah, so Mark, the same thing with you. I mean, just kind of the Black Sabbath, growing up listening to Doom.
Yeah, man,
he actually comes from a different background.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Let's go.
Besides a lot of old country and stuff, which I love, maybe because I'm from Texas, but Jesus Lizard, Melvins, even like Polvo. I played in a space rock band for a long time, so...
You should tell them the band name because a lot of people are actually surprised every time I say our bass player's from this band. They go, "Oh, really?" So let them know what you're.
Experimental Aircraft is the name of the band, but yeah, it's kind of like My Bloody Valentine.
Played with Explosions in the Sky and
Explosions in the Sky, Trail of Dead, Black Angels, a bunch of different things like that. I didn't play in those bands, but we used to play a lot of shows with them.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess you guys are in Austin now. We think of Austin as like kind of this music mecca. Can you describe to us here in Kalamazoo what Austin's like a little bit, the scene?
Well, it's...
Locally?
Yeah, I mean, just in general, it's just saturated. I mean, there's really like every genre, and I mean, hundreds upon hundreds and hundreds of bands. Hard to explain, but...
Well, I always like to say it's kind of a double-edged sword. You can literally... If you start a band, you can get booked sight unseen, play, and a club will book you, and you can cut your teeth in Austin playing. There's so many venues, there's so many bands. Yeah, you'll get on a bill, but it's getting the good shows and getting the on the right bill and getting people to come out is really difficult, and it's hard to start up. And part of that's why we're out on the road, is you really have to kind of leave town to get people to want to come see you when you're in town.
Yeah, they want to see you do stuff. You know, they want to see you go out and prove your worth and everything. And we didn't want to just rely on making it as a band in Austin. We liked it. Yeah, that wouldn't happen. So we just want to go out and tour. But I also want to say that when I moved down there and started playing with these guys, I started noticing that there are some really awesome metal bands out there. And so I started a website called Austin Heavy Music, where I promote and record live shows of bands playing of all different genres of metal, from death, thrash, doom, sludge, everything. Because we actually do have a pretty good metal scene. There are a lot of good metal bands in Austin, and a lot of people in that town don't even know. Because you'll see tons of people for Chaos de Tejas or at the metal shows at South by Southwest, and you're wondering, where are these local Austin people at the local shows? And I don't think they know, because it is oversaturated on everything, so they don't even know what's going on locally in the metal scene.
And there's really a big indie scene down there as well, so have a lot of that, like it's kind of a main thing, the downtown, But one thing about Austin is that I think for any art, whether you're a musician or a painter or a sculptor or whatever, Austin has a great energy, and it's a great place to hone your craft and really get your stuff together. There's tons of recording studios, some expensive, some reasonable, for everything from digital to tape. I've been fortunate enough to record on 2-inch tape for like pretty much everything I've ever done. And so you really hone it, and then I think you're in the center of Texas. It takes you about 10 hours in any direction to get out, and you really need to get out. So you're in this little oasis, and you need to get out of Texas, and have your stuff together. And so that's kind of what we're trying to do, I guess.
Yeah, so on the tour, just metal in general, you kind of think of the Midwest as being like, the stronghold of metal. Can you tell the difference between the audiences? I mean, you have more fun in the Midwest with the guys?
I always have fun. We've had fun in Chicago twice, and then we've had fun here twice. I
had no fun last night. I'm just joking. I love you guys.
To me, like, every town you go into, it's a different type of people, but you can tell people go out to see music and they love playing or just seeing live bands play. Energy differently. It just depends on who's in the crowd. Sometimes you'll have like 4 people in the crowd, and those people are, banging their heads out, or you got 50 to 100 people in the crowd and they're having a good time too. I don't know how to explain that one.
I think in Austin, people don't tend to thrash and move around. Everyone's very sedate in Austin, shall we say, for whatever reason. And I don't want to.
Well, yeah, I guess I can throw that in. So when you finish a song in Austin, it's kind of like a deer in headlights look you get from the crowd. So I used to like talk to the crowd and try to hype them up, but now I just do feedback and go into the next song.
Right.
So.
Nice. You guys got any plans to put out a full length, or is that too far along? Too far ahead?
Well, right now we're just doing the EPs. We still got a lot of material that we haven't recorded yet, and eventually we'll probably do an LP, but we're just sticking with EPs right now.
With an EP on that format for a release, we can affordably put out new material every year, and we've kind of talked about that's the goal, to basically stay in people's minds. Every year or so we'll be able to have new material out, and when you're an unsigned band, you've got to keep promoting yourself and pushing it, and having new stuff on the internet to keep generating buzz. The internet is really where we have the most buzz, honestly. It's not really in Austin. Because it's getting reviews, getting people to do reviews for as many releases as you can do is awesome. And we like an EP because it's nice. You can have kind of a flow to it, a dynamic to it. It can be like a little mini album, but it's feasible for us to be able to put out one of those regularly.
Yeah, because we just go in the studio and knock out 5 or 6 songs, and then